Hello again, this is Gail Cameron from My Pocket Coach for our Leadership Lesson series. And with us today, we have one of the most exciting and dynamic women leaders I've met. I was lucky to meet her early in her career when she was the director at Standard Bank, and I put her on a coaching program. But I realized from the outset that I was dealing and in the presence of an exceptional leader. In fact, pioneering in many ways, and at one point in her career was the Deputy Chief Executive Officer of Business Connection. But she remains a down-to-earth mother of two beautiful children and is a devoted wife to Mike. Welcome to our interview, Vanessa Olver. It is wonderful to have you here.
Thank you so much, Gail, for having me today. It is fantastic to be here as well. And thank you for your friendship and all the years we've been together.
So tell us a little bit about this incredible journey that you've been on. And it has been such an amazing journey.
Sure, Gail. You know, I always sort of look back in my career and I think, sure, where did it really start? And I think it all started with me doing my articles. So I am a CA by profession. That is my only designation. So I started off in Durban, right by the sea, never knowing where I ultimately was going to land up, but just knowing that I was not going to always just stay in Durban. It was an opportunity that came along to move to Chicago with Deloitte, and I took that, and it was amazing. I was supposed to be there for a 3-month assignment, and I landed up spending close on 4 years in Chicago. It was absolutely amazing. In between that, I also then went off to the UK and enjoyed a period of time in the UK. But I think the damp weather and having to commute on those trains didn't do my personality justice, and I decided to come back to warm and sunny South Africa after being abroad for 7 years. And knowing that I wanted to be back in South Africa. South Africa is in my blood, and Africa is actually in my blood. And that's where I started my journey with Standard Bank, but I started it in Africa. I went to BCX, and my journey there was South Africa, and yet again, Africa. And then I find my way to ABSA, and I have now again spent 3.5 years on the African continent. And I pride myself in being a true African, having worked across this continent for so many years.
So how have you built confidence and resilience over the course of your career? Because it's a very tough industry. Financial services and banking especially can be really, really tough.
Look, I think confidence actually starts from home, and it was something my mother instilled in all three of us, and there's 3 daughters in the family. I'm the eldest of 3. And I think it starts from home. My mom was always saying, go out there and get it, you know, reach for the stars, let no one set boundaries or limits for you. So I think it started at a very young age. And then, as I mentioned to you, I left Durban and I went to Chicago, and I was on my own. I didn't have other peers that joined me from the Durban office, and I had to start off on my own. And I realized that without being confident and approaching people and trying to build a network in Chicago, I was never going to succeed. And I think, you know, slowly but surely, that's how you build confidence. I then soon realized that also confidence comes with knowing your stuff. Hard work has never killed anyone. So there were things that I prepared for. And, you know, now I can say truly that all that hard work and preparation has paid off. But that's how I've built confidence and resilience over the years, by putting myself out there. You know, your circle of influence needs to grow and grow and grow. And I continually put my foot out into that next circle, despite how scary it can be, and continue to build my network and build my career and build everything else, you know, that I've established over the many years.
So I know your mum is no longer around, but, you know, I'm sure she's aware of the incredible job that you're doing. And how about you passing that on to your children now?
Absolutely. As you mentioned earlier, I've got 2 children. I've got a 7-year-old, feisty as anything. Her name is Charlotte, and I think it is her mother's twin. So, you know, today I always laugh and I say, I bet my mother's looking down from heaven going, you see, Vanessa, someone's going to get back at you. All the tough times I gave her. Of course, I've got my little 5-year-old, be more different, and a quiet individual. And we just keep coaching them that they will be the best. And it's that positive influence my mom gave me that we pass on to our children.
It's beautiful. So describe a difficult time when you almost gave up, and what did you do to stay motivated?
Sure, Gail. You know, so I've most probably had a key moment, and that was during my time at BCX, and it was when Benjamin Mupatlani passed away. Benjamin was the CEO, and it was someone that I was exceptionally close to. It was a man that gave me so many opportunities. I started off as CFO in BCX. Benjamin saw potential. He gave me all of shared services. And from there, he said, go and run the business. And you can imagine somebody who is an accountant and doesn't have a technical background going into the tech sector and having to buy credibility. So Benjamin believed in me, and it was Benjamin's passing that was absolutely devastating for a lot of us. And it was during the time when BCX was in the middle of an acquisition, and that was Telkom buying BCX, and Benjamin passed away. And I remember very fondly Tony Raiters phoning me. He was the chairman of the BCX board, and telling me, Vanessa, you need to take the helm and you need to look after things and get us through this Telkom deal. And it was really, really tough because a lot of people were crushed, they were devastated, and I had to try to get everybody through this terrible time, as well as steer the ship through a big M&A activity that needed to continue. And, you know, I think what I did was I made sure that I took a little bit of personal time off to go and reflect, to recharge, because there had been some intense periods and intense days. And it was those times that gave me the ability to say, get back up on the horse. You know, it's like you've fallen off, get back up on the horse, you've got to steer the ship and remain positive. And again, I suppose I've got all the tenacity in the world, and I pulled myself together with a good dose of sleep. I think sleep works wonders. I think we amaze ourselves after we've had a good night's rest. And we continue to steer the BCX ship until obviously Isaac took over as CEO. But that was a very difficult time because there were an immense number of people impacted by Benjamin's passing. And it was me that had to remain positive and really steer the ship.
And now that you're facing a new chapter in your life, are you also going to take some time out for yourself?
So, Gail, look, I am very excited to be, and when I say excited to be leaving ABSA, it's never about the people. I'm excited about starting a new chapter. And I suppose in my career, I'm always about these new chapters. And so for me, what I will do is take some downtime. And before I rush into the next permanent role. And there are a number of ventures that I myself already have. I am in the bed and breakfast industry for my sins, and I love it. And I want to go and resuscitate my businesses. COVID has really impacted us significantly, but I think that we can make a really good comeback. And I am solution orientated, and I just need that time to go and do that. So as much as I won't be rushing back into the corporate world, you know, lock, stock and barrel, I will be looking at my own ventures, but at the same time, taking time off to spend a little bit of time with my 2 very young kids.
Beautiful. So post 2020, what leadership values do you think are important for 2021?
So I suppose I am a CA by nature. And one of the most important things to me is integrity. And I think, you know, in a world where there is a fair amount of corruption, integrity is really critical. But over and above that, if you see where the world is and where COVID has taken us, I think being able to be solution-orientated, innovative, and creative is really what's going to set the difference in the upcoming years. Things are changing. I remember in my day, having started my articles, it was still pen and paper. When I probably had my second year, I got a computer. And you just look at the amazing things and how technology has transformed and changed our lives. It is even happening at a faster rate right now. So I think, for leadership, we need to also be empathetic. I think COVID has also taught us, working from home is not easy. And one person's circumstance is not another person's circumstance. So you've also got to have this empathy to understand the differences. There's a single mom out there with these children who she also needs to educate while you cannot go back to school. And so there's many challenges. So I think it's the empathy, solution orientated as leaders going forward. The integrity is important. Fairness is important in life. And I'd say the confidence element that you spoke about in the beginning is really critical, because confidence is going to also help us make the right decisions, make them quickly, especially in very trying times.
That's so true. How do you foster motivation in your team in a world that seems to be increasingly gravitating towards silo mentality and work environments?
Yeah, that's an easy one for me, because I think we've done it exceptionally well at ABSA and specifically in Africa. And it's because we had a common purpose and a common goal. And I'll just give you an example. We spent the last 3.5 years separating from Barclays. And every single solitary person in my team and on the continent, including our suppliers, knew that we had one goal, and that was to separate on time, in scope, and within budget. And guess what? We achieved all three of those. And I'll say most probably on time. We did that by the skin of our chinny chin chin, if you wanted to really call it that. We finished our last deployment on the 28th of June, and we had literally until the 30th of June to complete separation. But it's that common purpose and it's a common goal, and having everybody rallying behind you. I think there's also times when people are tired, and it's always saying, guys, come on, go and have some rest. Come back, tomorrow's another day. Because we did long hours and many late nights. And one thing as a leader is I've always been there with my people. I will not let them go through a massive deployment without being there to give them the encouragement, to cheer them on, to help them when they're feeling down. And we did many, many things to help our people get through weekends. We brought in people who could massage your shoulders when you were exceptionally tired. We had bean bags, we had blankets, we had plenty food and hydration so that people were never going to go hungry. And those are all the things that we did to keep motivating our people. We also brought in leadership like Peter Matlare to please come and say encouraging words on weekends. And those are things that motivate and stay with people forever. We took photos of every weekend to make sure that we could treasure the memories, and we celebrated our successes. And I think that is what motivates people, is to celebrate the successes, and each win makes you want to continue to get to the next goal in the journey.
You're so exceptional at motivating teams, Vanessa. I have experienced that from your teams that you work with, and well done on that, and I know that you're going to be so missed at ABSA. How do you measure success?
So, Gail, I think success is a number of things, and it will come in different forms and shapes. And what I think is success is most probably going to be different from the next person. But for me, success is seeing achievements of our people. I've mentored many people in my lifetime. And I look at one of my individuals in my team, and I'd love to name the individual Ashley Thaver. He has grown. At ABSA, and it's just phenomenal to see the growth in Ashley, and really I take my hat off to him. But seeing somebody's growth for me is absolute success. Being able to see that I've left a place in a better space is also success for me. And it's those two things that are really a driving force in my life, is always being able to reflect that I left something in a better space after I've left.
Well done, Vanessa. What is one lesson from 2020 that you would like to build on?
Sure. Gail, there's many, many lessons, I suppose, in any given year. But I think COVID has taught us something different. And it's around understanding how that impacted many people's lives. And I spoke about it a little bit earlier. You don't know what everybody is going through COVID. I've got a great support structure. So as much as I've got 2 little children at home, and we were in level 5, and I was one of those individuals still having to go into the office during level 5, I've got a brilliant support structure in my husband. I had a nanny that's from Zimbabwe, so she stayed. And so ultimately, I've got a fantastic support structure. I don't feel the stress and strain of what COVID did to many other people. But there were certain individuals in my team who were single moms, as I outlined, or they could have been single dads. Or they did not have the necessary support structures in place. And so they were juggling many, many things at a time that was highly stressful for individuals. People didn't know whether they were going to lose their jobs. They didn't know if their salaries were going to be decreased. And it brought immense stress and strain on the system. And I think what I've recognized is COVID brought that realization to me, but many people still have these challenges in everyday life. And so for me, the big learning is going forward is really to try and understand what is happening in people's personal lives. So it's not about what makes you tick at work and what do you like and what don't you like, because this is how I operate and this is what I do like and don't like. It's about saying really, what in your personal life can possibly impact your work so that we can work with you to be able to achieve a business result and also help you balance life better at home. And I think that's what COVID really taught me, is we're not all the same. And how we deal with things will be very, very different.
Yes.
And how can I help people in a journey?
Well done. So who is your favorite leader and why?
Gail, that's easy because I live by a mantra. So it is Mahatma Gandhi. And what did Gandhi say? And that sort of, it resonates and has always remained with me. And you can ask every single one of my team, if I say farewell, if I'm trying to say well done, Gandhi was always be the change you wish to see in the world. And that's what I say to my people. I can't change things for you. Only you can change it. And similarly for myself, if I get into trying circumstances, only I can change it. Nobody else can change it for me. And so I love Gandhi, and I treasure his famous quotes. And it's so easy to say who's one of the people I look up to and aspire as a leader. It's Gandhi, and I know there's many more. And I would like to just mention Mr. Nelson Mandela, because we've used a saying right throughout separation, which is, it always seems impossible until it is done. And that comes from our famous leader, Mr. Mandela. So those two would be people that really inspire me.
I love that quote. I was actually running a leadership workshop for Deloitte today through Africa, and we had almost 600 participants, and it was on Nelson Mandela. So all that's left to say, Vanessa, is to say thank you for the huge contribution that you've made in leadership. And also thank you for empowering and building up people throughout your life. But we know this is the beginning of a new chapter for you. And we look forward with interest to following you and catching up in the next one. Is there any advice you would like to leave young leaders watching this today?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, thank you, Gail, again. Thank you for always mentoring and coaching me throughout my career, and you still do it today. So a very big thank you from me to you, as also one of those phenomenal ladies out in the sector. And to anybody that's young and, got this long road ahead, never, never, never give up. Ultimately, you can always attain your goals. Just continue to dream. And hard work has never killed anyone. So, 9 times out of 10, it's a little bit of hard work, a little bit of elbow grease that we need to do to get somewhere in life. And so I encourage each and everyone, continue to dream, and you will ultimately get there. And if you ever need help, please phone me.
That's so beautiful. Thank you so much, Vanessa. And all the very best for what's coming.
Thank you so much, Gail.